All right, what is going on, guys? Today we are back with another video. I don't know why I kind of sound echoey to myself right now. Hopefully that's not like as bad as it sounds to me on the video. But yeah, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. It might be a longer video. I'm not gonna lie. This one, I have a lot of content for it. Okay, I kind of went. I was on my phone last night. I found this thing. I was like, you know what? This is going to make a really good video. So there is a lot of content for it. So stick around, watch the whole thing. That would be awesome. I appreciate it. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. So what we are talking about today is the Squire program. And now I feel like I probably couldn't do a very good job of explaining this like myself. So instead, I've decided to go ahead and just take their words word for word because who could describe it better than themselves, right? So on their YouTube page, because we're going to take a look at the YouTube first before we like really dive into this thing and take a look at the other aspects of it. So just looking at their YouTube page, what they have put on their YouTube, they describe themselves as right. Okay, so the Squire program brings to you a father and son experience that will be remembered for a lifetime. Now, that doesn't sound bad, right? That sounds fine. Like, okay, cool, like father-son bonding. It sounds awesome, right? It doesn't sound bad. Like, it sounds like an overall positive thing. But, to continue going on, the Squire program is a father-son journey where we take both of you through a 15-hour-long ritual. Now, it's worded a little weird, right? You might be thinking like, okay, like, I don't know about this, right? A 15-hour ritual, like, it's kind of weird wording. Maybe it's not as cool as we thought before. Maybe it's a little weird. Maybe you could just, I don't know, like, take a bike ride, go down to like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that, right? Instead of, this weird 15-hour fucking ritual thing. But, okay, fine. Like, it's okay, right? But continuing on, for your son, we put him through a rite of passage from being a boy to having a seat at the table with men. That sounds a little cheesy. I mean, like, come on. Moving forward, though. For you, we show you how to groom your son into a capable and confident man who's a protector and a provider. Now, okay, here's the thing, right? Typically when you hear the word groom or like grooming or anything like that, it typically has a negative connotation, in like today's world. I don't know if previously the word wasn't as bad or wasn't like as negative, but typically today, with all the online shit that goes on and, a lot of the like accusations that come out about grooming and stuff, they aren't positive. So most of us are like, oh, grooming, like that's not going to be a good thing. Like we don't like that. And I guess it's not really a bad thing here, but it does sound weird. It sounds weird, and just keep that in mind because they have like a couple other weird like word uses like this that are kind of like, okay, I don't know if you really meant what you said. Fuck, I can't talk. I don't really know if like you meant what you said there, but yeah, this is just kicking it off, right? It's kicking it off. So yeah, grooming into a protector and a provider. It's kind of weird, but okay. It's very like stereotypical like man shit, like the kind of like that toxic masculinity shit where it's just like over the top and just so like, oh yeah, we're gonna be a man, we're gonna do this shit, like blah 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 blah. Like I don't know, it's not something that I'm personally like crazy about, but we're still giving it a chance, right? We're still giving it a chance. So continuing on. You'll be leading your son through multiple exercises and parts of the program, as well as separating from him for group talks with the instructors and other fathers. So it's like what this sounds like to me is like almost like a weird like church group like Sunday school kind of experience for like you and your son, right? Or you and your dad. I don't know, depending on the age that you are watching this, you're going to relate to one of those more than the other. But it just kind of sounds like a weird like forced bonding experience, which is like fine, I guess. Like maybe I don't know, maybe you and your dad don't have the best relationship, something like that. But I don't know. I feel like if there's like stuff that you need to fix, there's other ways of fixing it that might be a little more positive than like this 15-hour course that sounds kind of creepy. And yeah, and my laptop sounds like it's about to take off and fly away. So let me see if I can like stop the fan noise from that, because that sounds really loud. But yeah, so pretty much, I don't know, it sounds a little weird, it sounds a little wacky, but don't worry, because we have examples from it. If you didn't think it was weird and wacky already, or maybe you don't know what you thought about it, don't worry, because there are examples that we're going to take a look at. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these YouTube shorts that this program has uploaded for us to take a look at.
Three. Okay, good. Now you're gonna take a right side step.
How much?
Just like you did the left side step, do a right side step. Yeah. Okay, one more. Good. Take a little 6-inch right step forward.
Okay, so now here's where you might start thinking, okay, what did I just watch? Because there's more of these that are probably a little more strange, at least to me. But this one was a good one to start it off with. And I'm gonna be honest. Typically, when I like make a video on something, I kind of do have to go looking a little bit. Typically, I like to make videos on things that are pretty like easy to understand why they're bad, or like there's a lot of examples, but I do typically have to, dig a little bit, because it's typically things, even if they do kind of have a bad message, or like they are kind of extreme in whatever they're doing or something like that, they do at least have, the mental capability to think, maybe we shouldn't put out so much crazy stuff. Maybe we should mix in something that's like a little more moderate, or a little more like, oh, well, what are you going to say about this? Because it's just kind of like a general, like, everybody's going to look at that and say, yeah, can't really refute that. They don't really do that. All of the videos that I've taken pretty much are just me scrolling. Like, literally, these are just one after another. But yeah, basically looking at this one in specific, we have a kid, a pretty young kid, right? Not old at all. He's blindfolded, and he is walking around an area that has, dangerous objects in it, such as barbed wire, 2x4s with nails sticking through them, stuff like that. It's like an obstacle course, and he's walking through it blindfolded. And now you may be thinking this is probably not a good idea, right? Doesn't sound like a good idea, but it's okay, because he's being guided by his dad to walk through it. And there's a little saying down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. It was kind of difficult for me to see it. I had to look at it for a second, but it says, listen to the voice of your father, or something like that. He will keep you out of harm's way, which, like, I get the bonding exercise, right? I understand. Like, it's a dangerous situation. It's a father and son. The father is going to hopefully, help guide his son to victory, or to success, or whatever. And that's what this is supposed to teach. And while that's not a bad message, just at all, it's fairly positive. The way that this is happening is strange to me. It's weird, like, don't get me wrong. Me and my dad have a pretty decent relationship, right? There's things that we enjoy doing together. There's things that we don't enjoy doing together. There's things that, he might like that I don't like, and, vice versa, right? There's things that I like that he doesn't really care for. But at the end of the day, we have like a decent relationship, right? It's pretty good. And, I've never felt the need to go through this kind of exercise with my dad to be assured that he will give me, good advice. And I think that even if you were having, troubles or something like that, I feel like just having an open conversation of, hey, I don't know how good our relationship is, might be a little more, helpful, than let's go walk through a, danger infested obstacle course and hope that I give you the right instructions and don't mess up and you don't end up with a nail sticking through your foot. So it's very weird. It's very like, I guess like manly. It's very like, oh, like I'm a big strong man. We're gonna go walk through barbed wires and nails, son, so I can show you that you can trust me. Like it's a very that kind of thing. It's a very like, old viewpoint of masculinity sort of happening here. But that's definitely going to be a trend. This is not, exclusive to just this YouTube short. All of these have some aspect of that. But yeah, this one was just weird because it does seem a little dangerous to me, even though I'm sure nobody's really gotten hurt from it, and I'm sure that it's probably a lot safer than it seems. It doesn't seem like the way that I would personally try and teach something like this, and I just thought that it set the scene well. So, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
I'm Aiden. I'm a man. I'm a warrior. This is it. We live here. This is where we live. This is where we live.
Okay, so now we have the second one, and we have this poor soul named Aiden with us. Now Aiden is trying his best here, right? He's really making an effort. He's trying his hardest to be like, hey, I can do this. I'm a warrior. I'm strong. I'm in this ice bath in the rain, and I don't know why, but I'm going to act like I'm strong and I can get through it. And, again, it's not really a bad message, right? Be positive in your mindset. Know that you can get through anything. Like, it's like, it's basically teaching like it's a mental thing. If you think you can do something, you can do something. And that is very much how ice baths kind of work. If you like just go into your mind and really like believe in yourself and say, hey, I can sit here for a couple minutes in this ice bath. That's kind of how you have to get through it. But yeah, so it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's not terrible, with like a lot of these things. It's not like the worst thing in the world. I don't think that it's like really that bad, but the way that they're going about it is weird to me, especially since these are like kids. Like you have to remember at the end of the day, these are kids that they're putting through almost like boot camp situations. Like we'll see later on, but there's people that are like yelling at these kids to do certain things and then also yelling at the dad. And now that might be weird for a kid, to see like somebody yell at their dad in front of them. It's a very weird situation that's going on here, right? But yeah, back to the ice bath thing. You can tell that he doesn't really want to be doing this. Like he is really struggling here, by the way that he's talking. And I would assume it's not a very enjoyable experience. And then towards the end of the YouTube short, we go ahead and switch over to this other ice bathtub where we have a kid who looks like he is literally about to die. Like he looks like he is not uncomfortable, but almost in pain. And that is like kind of crazy. There's definitely points where I feel like you should be able to call it and things like this. And I feel like maybe this program doesn't know those limits of maybe when they should call it. And it looks a little strange, right? It looks weird. It doesn't look great when you're like putting this out as your promotion material, because like who is signing up for this now? Dads who like want to like teach their son discipline or something, by, throwing them in an ice bath that's going to like leave them almost in pain, because that's probably not a great market to like advertise to, with a public business like this. It's just weird. And it's a little extreme. For me personally, but I don't know, we're going to see more of these and, we'll kind of develop a little more of like a opinion the further we go. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one.
Let's try this again. Start rolling. Go.
Guys, if your stomach is not all the way down.
There's no way the whole front of your shirt is not covered in mud by now. If it is, you're just being a little bitch.
Hey guys, listen. If you get to that side and your shirt's not dirty, we're going to start there and go there.
Okay, so here is like what I talked about when we looked at the last one. So it's a very boot camp kind of feel. However, I feel like with boot camp in the military, there is practical application to it, right? For example, if you're in the military, you're running through boot camp, say that you're doing like one of the obstacle course things. I don't really know what they're called. I'm not personally like super in touch with the military, right? But we're just going to call them like one of the obstacle course things. If you know what they are, please feel free to leave a comment. I would appreciate it. But yeah, if you're going through one of those things, right? Let's, just assume like from the movies, I don't know how realistic this is, but like they do the part where like they often crawl through like barbed wire, for example, and they'll do it like through the mud underneath or whatever. And that's awesome, right? That's cool because, maybe there's going to be situations when you're out in combat doing your thing where it is going to be like a dangerous situation that you're in. And maybe the way to escape it is you're going to have to like crawl through something or under something. And it might be dangerous and you need to know how to go low enough and stay low enough and, move effectively to get out of whatever danger you're in. Like that has very practical applications to me for the most part, along with a lot of like boot camp. Is it brutal? Is it rough? Yes, for sure. But I feel like it does actually teach, lessons that you might need to know going into combat. However, these kids are not going into combat like in a couple months, or, these dads are not going into combat. They're literally here for like a weird father-son bonding ritual, as the, YouTube description described the program as, right? It's a bonding ritual or whatever the fuck it called it. So it's like, it's weird to me because one, you have grown men who are yelling at both kids and their dad together, which is kind of an odd situation. Like I said before, it kind of makes you look as like, who are you responding to in that situation now? Are you like under the wing of your dad and like bonding with your dad, which is what the course says that it's supposed to be? Or are you now both getting almost like emasculated by a guy who is, yelling at you to crawl through the mud for seemingly no reason? One, there's no obstacle that you're trying to go around or get through or whatever that's going to, fill you with success at the end. Instead, it's just getting dirty. It's just crawl through the mud. Why? Because we told you to crawl through the mud. It's weird, right? And now you may be thinking, oh, well, Skeleton Key, you're just like one of those people who just sits on their computer all day and, doesn't do anything. You hate nature and you hate exercise and blah, 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 blah. And that's not true. I'm not coming from that place. Like, if you want to argue and say that this is exercise that they're going through or they're doing exercises or whatever, then, there's still no real, like, accomplishment at the end of this at all. At least with the ice bath, if you sit in it for however long you plan to stay on it or whatever your goal was, there is at least a sense of, like, accomplishment at the end of that one. Like, oh, I did it. I made it. That's cool. I proved to myself that I could do something I might have thought that I couldn't do. This one, though, is literally just crawling through the mud in the rain. There is nothing. And this is coming from somebody who has, done plenty of running. I've done competitive running. I've done, non-competitive running. I've done so many 5Ks. I've done, a ton of things, right? And I also would love to do something like a Spartan race, which has obstacles like this. However, they are actual obstacles that you get to the other side of, and then you feel like, hey, I just overcame an obstacle. That's cool. It's not just here, crawl through this mud because we said crawl through this mud. Like there's no course to continue on the other side or no finish line. It's just you're crawling through the mud. It's odd to me. It's weird. It doesn't make sense. So it's like, that's kind of weird. And plus the whole yelling at the like father and the son thing at the same time is weird, because then it almost feels like you're trying to teach like the dad respect or whatever, which is just odd. Like if you're a dad, you should probably be far enough along in your life to where you know and understand, those kinds of things so that you can effectively teach it to your kid and you don't have to go to some weird program ritual, weird shit like this to get that straightened out. But, we're going to keep going ahead and moving forward.
Squire Program was motherfucking awesome. And it brought that out of you. Got you to fucking stand up and nut up.
What?
And actually initiate a tough conversation with your father. Actually get feedback from him. Ask him for feedback about yourself. Give him feedback about him. He needs it from you. You are his fucking coach. You are his fucking hero. You think that's bullshit, but that's the way it is. You can help him more than anyone in this fucking world, and he needs your fucking help. He thinks he's here for you, but subconsciously in his head, he didn't really come here for you. He came here because he's trying to figure his own shit out. His excuse was to come here with you, but he knows he needs this shit. So now imagine you stand up and finally man up and go and bring this shit up to him. Have these fucking conversations with him.
Okay, so here's another one of these instances where, you know, maybe they didn't say the right thing. Now, the first time I watched this, I laughed for a little bit. I can't lie. And you may be thinking, why? This is like a powerful moment. Like, clearly it's the end of one of these things, and, you know, they're like going through it. But this dude said nut up. Now, personally, I've never heard like the phrase nut up. I don't know if this is like a normal phrase somewhere out there in the world, and I'm just not aware of it. But nut up sounds very strange. You know, it sounds very weird, especially given the audience that you're speaking to. It sounds a little it sounds a little weird to me. You know, call me dirty-minded. I don't know. Maybe it's me here. Maybe this is a me problem and not a them problem. But to me, that was weird. It sounded weird. It might have been used in the wrong context. I don't really know what happened there. It was weird. It was kind of like how they did the grooming thing earlier, where they said groom. It's kind of like, was that really what you meant to say there? Like, it's weird, right? It's kind of strange. But yeah, you know, going on with that, there's a couple other issues that I have with that. This guy's excited. This guy's having a good time, right? He's very excited. But then he goes out and he's like, this has been fucking awesome. We've had a motherfucking awesome time. Blah, 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 blah. To a room full of kids. And now, well, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not the most family-friendly, you know, guy on the internet, right? I've said my fair share of, you know, scary, spooky, naughty words on YouTube. You know, there's kind of like an understanding of I don't necessarily make my videos for younger kids. I feel like, you know, if you're under the age of probably, you know, 13, 14, 15, you know, my content is probably not for you. And even then, it still might be a little, you know, pushing the boundaries. I really make content for people who are like 18 to 20, and that's what my target audience is. That's where most of my viewers are, is in the like late teens, like the very late teens to the early 20s, because that is, you know, who I am. That's the group that I fall into. So that's the group that's easiest for me to appeal to. And so it's kind of like, you know, this is weird. It's weird to like go out and just start like dropping like F-bombs and shit like crazy to just a bunch of kids who, you know, it's kids because you teach a class that's for kids, basically. So it's weird. It's like, you know, it's like if you went to school as like, I don't know, as like a middle schooler, right? Because that's probably about the age that most of these kids are in this. So let's say that you go to school in like middle school, right? It's like 6th grade, 7th grade, and the teacher just, you know, walks into the class and just starts like cussing, like, you know, we're going to have a fucking awesome day today. It's like, that would be weird, right? You know, you would kind of look at that and go, wow, I like, I don't know about that. And if you were a parent, you would probably be a little upset. Like, you know, that would be a little like, I'm not really, you know, having my kids sent to school for that. Like, I don't really want them coming home and just saying like crazy shit, right? Like, they're going there to learn about things and, you know, become educated and like, you know, all of that cool shit, rather than just like get crazy, like, you know, get their teacher coming in going fucking crazy. Like that's a little weird, right? It's weird. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that about this at all. And yeah, it's just, it still just further seems like a weird program, you know, like the more and more I watch it, the like more weird it kind of sounds, but we're going to keep moving forward, and go on to the next one.
The Squire Program is a byproduct of where our country is headed. And while the opposition has been winning some battles, they will not win the war.
Men work hard, men sweat. Sometimes getting a task accomplished is pain.
Ready! Exercise!
1, 2, 3. Let's go! I don't even care, it's late.
You as fathers have a responsibility to role model to your sons what a savage servant looks like, how he lives, how he trains, how he eats, how he treats his spouse, how he treats his kids.
If you're walking, you're wrong.
Every man must be able to carry his own weight. And to carry your own weight means you must have strength, you must have courage, you must have mastery, and you must have honor.
Okay, so here they have this weird, like, almost like army recruitment video, right? Like, this is something I feel like I would be, going through YouTube, like, late at night one day, and all of a sudden I get this, like, video that's like, join the army, right? Like, it gives off the same kind of vibe as, like, the thing that we just watched. And it's very weird. We're still rolling with it's kind of weird. Because, once again, it's appealing to, like, the very, like, tactical, like, manly man, right? The very, like, I'm ready to go, like, that kind of dude, right? That's really who we're appealing to still with this, and it's very clear, like, it's very obvious. They do not try and hide it in the slightest. But it's the shit that they say is just weird, because we get into some, like, weird political stuff kind of with this. It gives off the whole, like, oh, where our country's going is leading to weak men, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, dude, like, you're not, like, really hiding anything. We all know what you're trying to do here. It's not like you even, did this in, like, a sly way. Like, we all know what you're trying to do here. He's kind of going off of the, like, oh, good times create weak men, or like, I don't know, fucking bad times create strong men create good times create weak men, or some shit like that, which is just like one of those weird, like, I don't even know, like one of those weird fucking sayings that you would say, like, who even knows how long ago, to try and, like, preach, like, all this masculinity shit, which today would just be seen as, like, toxic masculinity, because really it is. I mean, like, why do you need to be like that? Why do you need to be the kind of guy that's like, oh, well, when I grew up, I would fucking go shoot deer, so I'm going to teach my son how to go out into the wild and, catch a deer and eat its heart with his bare hands. Like, it's like, we just don't need that anymore. Like, we've evolved as, like, a society to not really need that. And now, being a dude is just kind of being a dude, right? Like, you just kind of do your thing, do whatever. It's fairly similar to being a woman, but it's not, because you're a dude. But, it's like, we don't need this weird, like, archaic, like, hunter-gatherer fucking mindset, right? Like, oh, well, she's a woman, so she's gonna do the cooking and cleaning, and you're a man, so you have to go out and, fucking kill every goddamn animal in a fucking 7-mile radius, and then we're gonna get home and we're gonna fucking eat that shit raw after we take the bones out and build a fucking castle out of them. Like, it's like, it's just weird shit. And, like, even the stuff that they go into is just kind of, like, odd. Like, it's like how he treats his spouse and how he raises his kids. And it's like, if you need to be taught, like, how to treat a spouse, like, if you just don't grow up, kind of realizing that from seeing other people, then that's probably not a good sign from the beginning, especially because these people who are teaching this kind of fit the, the stereotype of, like, the kind of the wife abuser, right? They give off the, I kind of, like, don't treat my wife very well kind of mindset, where it's like, it's not great. It's not a great look, especially if these are the people that you're, like, almost hiring to teach your kids how to treat their future spouse. It's weird. Plus, these kids are pretty young. As we saw in the video, there's some young kids here, and they don't really need to be worrying about how to treat a spouse, because they are, like, 10 years old. And last time I checked, it wasn't really a great idea to get married until you're, like, stable with yourself and in your life and shit like that, I wouldn't recommend getting married at, like, fucking 16, which I'm sure that some of these people would also kind of preach for, because they're like, oh, 10 years old, he's ready to fucking get out there. He needs to find himself a wife. They need to go out and, like fucking court and shit. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's so like out there for me. It's so something that is nowhere near me, right? Nowhere near me. And I'm sure for a lot of dudes who spend their time on YouTube who are watching this video, you're probably on the same track. You're probably like, yep, this is just too much for me. But at the end of the day, I'm still a dude. I'm still having a good time, and I haven't had to take a weird ritualistic program course thing like this. But there's a couple more of these, so let's keep going.
Come on! They got the lightest truck and they stopping. Come on, let's catch them. Let's catch them. Let's go.
The grown man said it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
Steve, it's not fair, Steve.
Want a do-over. This isn't fair. They had one more 11-year-old than we did.
Oh,
He's 10. And their truck was 50 pounds lighter. This isn't fair. Life is not fucking fair. It's the way it works.
Okay, so now, same shit here, right? Nothing's really changed. But basically, one team, as we saw, complained that the other team had, one more person or whatever, but the team that lost had, like, a lighter truck or whatever. So they're like, oh, well, you're complaining about it not being fair. Well, life's not fair. So, fucking buck up, like, and it's like, okay, dude, like, who really cares? Like, plus, like, what even is this, dude? Like, you're literally paying these people. You're paying these people for them to be like dicks to you. And like the only other time that I've heard of this happening is like if you had like, I don't even know, like a fucking weird like humiliation kink or some shit, and you were like paying like a dominatrix or something to, fucking humiliate you, right? I mean, that's like the only other situation I could see this. So maybe all of these dudes are just into that. And unfortunately, their kids have been brought along, which is weird, and definitely not something that I'm supporting. So it's all weird. It's all weird at the end of the day. Also, side note, before people get mad, if that is your thing, if what I described is your thing, maybe you like people getting a little mad at you, kind of humiliating you. It's okay. We're accepting here. We're an accepting channel. I'm not trying to like make fun of your shit, but it was useful to prove a point with, because I mean, I think even if you are like that, you can probably see the like, why that would make sense in this situation. Think, yeah, that's kind of weird, right? We can all do that, right? We all got weird shit. We all like, know how to sometimes look at it and go, yeah, that it's a weird thing. I can see where you're coming from. So just wanted to clear that up, not trying to make anybody feel like fucking ashamed of what they like or anything, because that's kind of fucked up and we don't do that here. But I'm sure these people would have no problem with doing that. So, just throwing that out there. But yeah, we are going to go ahead and now we're going to take a look at their website, because I also took a look at their website. I couldn't stop myself. I thought, what, this is just such a fantastic sounding program. How do I sign up? Where do I go? And now their website was way, way bigger than like I thought it was. And I'm not saying like it was like amazing or like the content was like crazy or anything like that. Like it wasn't. But you'll see, like there's just way more stuff than I thought there would like ever be. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, now once again, I kind of apologize for this all being like a phone formatted website and stuff. I did like do all of the research for this video and stuff at like 1 a.m, the other day. So it is unfortunately on my phone. I didn't have like any pictures of this from, an actual computer. And honestly, I'm too lazy to go get actual ones from a computer. So we're looking at it on a phone, because honestly, the phone kind of sets it up in a way that, works. It works for us here. So, going through, we have, a nice quote to start us off. So it says, when you grew up, the hard times defined who you are. Now, this is like what we talked about earlier with the, tough times create strong men, blah, 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 blah. That kind of weird, like, propaganda shit to be more masculine. So that kind of comes from there, right? So, okay, whatever. But moving on, it says, and because of your hard work and sacrifice, you've created a place your son could not only survive, but thrive and succeed at life. So it's like, awesome, awesome, cool, right? That's the goal in life, right? If you're a dad, if you're a father, the goal is that you and your generation put in the work and made the world a cool place for your kids to live in. I mean, that is like the goal of being a parent, is it not? That's what the goal is to me. I want to help make the world a better place so that my children and my grandchildren can grow up and have an awesome life. Like that should be the ultimate goal. So like, I like this, right? I like this. But then it says, but society doesn't want that to happen. Here's why. So it's like, what do you mean? Like, we're getting into like Andrew Tate weird shit now, where it's like society, the matrix, it's controlling you. Like, it's so weird. And just comes out of nowhere. Like we went to like, oh, like, awesome. You as a father, you did a good job. You made a world that's cool for your son. But society's not going to let that happen. So we have to teach them how to break the mold and live in that world that you created. And it's like, okay, you fucking lost me now. And that's how I feel like so much of this, like, shit for men is. Like, that's kind of what I try and do with my channel, where I have like tips for dicks. And I've made other videos where I try and be like a positive, masculine kind of like role model for people. I kind of do it so they can avoid, falling down the rabbit hole of stuff like this, where it's like, oh, well, to be a man, you have to break out of the matrix and you solve your own problems and do all this crazy shit. And you can't take help from anybody. And you have to be this cookie cutter male, like, kind of thing. It's why I do so much of what I do. And even why I'm like making this video, to try and, express to other men out there that there are other options. You don't have to be this kind of person. And if you feel like you don't fit into that kind of person, it doesn't like make you any less of a dude, or any less of like a man or shit like that, or however you want to, put it. It just means that you're, your own fucking person. Because honestly, like I said, I try and be like a cool masculine role model, for people, to where I'm like telling you the truth and being open with you and saying like how I would do things and stuff like this and stuff like that. So maybe if you're struggling, you can pick up on that. But like, I don't fit into like the roles that these dudes are pushing at all, like I'm completely separate from that. While I think that it is positive that they're trying to push a good connection between a son and his father and stuff like that, I would go about it in a different way than these people. And I think that it's still a way of creating a good, healthy relationship the way that I do it. In fact, I think it's much better than how these people try and push it. But continuing on, right? Society doesn't want, your kids to live in this awesome world that you created. So we got to fucking break out of the mold. So it says, here's why. And then there's a quote that says, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And that's from Frederick Douglass. Now, if you don't know who Frederick Douglass is, he's, maybe you haven't gotten that far in history or some shit, or you just don't remember because it's been a while since you took history. Frederick Douglass is an abolitionist, which means he is against slavery. Well, I mean, he's, long dead, but at the time, he was against slavery, right? When it was a big issue. He was very against it, and he was kind of, not necessarily tame about it, but he liked to kind of go about it through like legal means and stuff like that, as opposed to having like violent uproars. He was kind of similar to like Martin Luther King, for example, and he tried to do things very peacefully and stuff like that. But at the same time, he wasn't like the biggest like condemner of violence. Like there's many quotes and shit like that where he was like, okay, you know what? Actually, some of the violent people are doing cool things and being courageous and getting some of the things done that I can't personally do, right? Frederick Douglass, overall, pretty chill dude, right? We fuck with him. I fuck with him at least. But so it's like, okay, so it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now, this quote is probably taken well out of context for this meaning, because I doubt Frederick Douglass, with all of his woes and worries and shit that he had going on in his life, I doubt that he was concerned about, teaching people how to raise their children in the, correct manner to avoid societal like pressure or some shit. I really don't think that that was his message in any way ever. But you know, okay, so they misused a quote. It's not the biggest deal. Keep going through this website. So apparently they know this. Now I'm assuming we're referring to the kids that we talked about earlier, but which is why they're doing everything in their power to make boys lost and broken men before they even have a chance to become a man. So apparently society is trying to turn boys into lost and broken men. So I guess because I conform mostly to, you know, society, fuck it, I'm a lost and broken man apparently. And that's how sad, you know. I mean, I'm just gutted. I can't believe it. I'm gonna go, you know, cry into my pillow for hours about how lost and broken I am. Obviously, I don't feel that way at all. You know, I really don't feel lost or broken. I feel pretty happy with where I am actually, and the things that I've achieved, and the things that I continue to try and achieve, and what I do. You know, I mean, I'm much happier, I feel, sitting here making YouTube videos for you guys to watch and enjoy than I feel I would be going out into the fucking forest and, you know, I don't know, like hunting for my own food. Like, you know, I'm perfectly okay with going to the grocery store and buying myself, you know, a nice pack of hamburgers and barbecuing them rather than going to the absolute extreme, or even better, going to like fucking In-N-Out. Okay. You know, I mean, that's better than somebody else even fucking cooked the burger for me. All I do is just eat it. You know, I mean, like I'm much happier there than I feel like I would be if I tried to do this weird I'm breaking out of society thing. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be the next Liver King, okay? But moving forward, we have I don't even know at this point. We have so much shit to go through. So apparently they don't want this type of man to be around because he's hard to control. All those men that are breaking society, they're hard to control. They're off the fucking wall. They're going crazy. It's like, it's not. You're just like, I don't know. You're just kind of like a thick-headed person. I feel like if you're that kind of person, you're probably not the most educated, and that's probably negatively affecting you. So I feel like they are hard to control, and you can actually get through to them really simply by just, you know, saying like all this masculine hyped up shit, and then you could probably throw anything out there and they just believe it. That's literally how this course works. In fact, I doubt that the people who run this course even give a shit. They're probably just trying to make money. And yeah, so basically they're probably just out there saying, hey, you know what? Do you want to be a masculine man? Do you want your son to be a masculine man? Do you want to bond with your son in a very masculine, manly way? Well, here's this course for you that we're going to teach, and we definitely know what we're talking about. And it's like, it's just some bullshit. But yeah, I don't know. This is why big tech and social media platforms are brainwashing the masculinity out of our boys. Once again, I'm a pretty chronically online person. I'm not going to lie. I'm online a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube. I make a lot of YouTube. I'm on Instagram a lot. I do my fair share of Snapchat, you know, stuff like this, right? Like I'm everywhere. I've even ventured into the deep dark caverns of Reddit. You know, time and time again. We had a whole Reddit review on the channel forever that I don't know what really happened with that series. It didn't die. It'll come back eventually, mark my words. But, you know, I'm pretty online, right? I do a lot of onlining. I watch Twitch, shit like that. Like, I'm very online. And like I said before, I don't think that the masculinity has been brainwashed out of me. I think I'm still fairly happy and confident in my level of masculinity, you know? I don't have any issue with it. And I still go to the gym. I still do physical activity. I played sports for a long time. You know, like they were a big part of my life. I watch sports. You know, I do a lot of masculine things still. And I've, you know, done quite a bit of social media, okay? So it's like they don't know what they're talking about once again, because this might apply to like a very slim margin of people, or it's just to grab the dad's attention who are like, like I said, probably not the best educated, who are sitting there going, oh my God, that is what's happening to my son. All of the YouTubes are infecting his brain, and he's going to become this weirdo kid. Like, I'm online a lot, but I'm not a weirdo. I feel like you could probably get that, through how I sound on my videos and the things that I talk about. I'm not like, one of those weirdo, like, dungeon basement, like dwelling, people, okay, neckbeard people. Like that's not me. I'm out here living a normal life outside of YouTube and shit. So, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, or also social media tells them that they're toxic. Now, this is the toxic masculinity thing that we're back on, which does definitely exist. Don't get me wrong. I spent years of my life, denying it. There's plenty of videos on my channel from a very long time ago, when I was like 13 and shit, when I thought it was cool and edgy to be like, fuck feminists. But no, don't get me wrong. Toxic masculinity is a very real thing. You can definitely be an asshole if you're way too into it. It will turn you into an asshole. There's like almost on 100% chance. And yeah, you'll just be a dick. And nobody likes that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be around you. It is toxic. It really is, because it forces people away from you. And yeah, so it is a real thing. Social media doesn't lie to you 100% of the time, just most of the time. But let's keep moving forward down this fucking website. All right, so taking a look at the next fucking picture I have from here. So it says Hollywood is celebrating that it's okay to be a weak, soft pushover. Now, once again, I don't know what the fuck these people have. Like, I don't know why they have such a hard-on for Hollywood and shit, and they just like critiquing like these like big popular things like fucking social media or Hollywood. This is like the same people. This is like the same thing that anti-Semitic people do. They go after like fucking Hollywood or like successful positions, right? Like Hollywood, doctors, shit like that. And they're like, look at these people, they hold the power and they're in these things, but they are bad people. And it's like, it's such a bad argument. It's so dumb and stupid. And it like, it's just so like, it's not something that you should follow if you have like more than like 3 brain cells, right? Hollywood is celebrating that it's okay to be a weak, soft pushover. Like, not once have I seen a thing where I'm like, oh, that is telling me that it wants me to be like a weak pushover. It's like, no, it's just teaching me how to be like overall like a cool person, or just like be nicer to people or shit like that, and not just be so like self-centered and fucking care for other people. You could be a guy and care for other people. That's awesome. That's something that you should be doing. It's I don't know. It's weird. I feel like I've never been like fucking indoctrinated by Hollywood to be like some like, I don't know, fucking feminine dude or some shit. Like I said, I feel pretty happy and confident in my level of masculinity, and yeah, I don't have a problem with it. But that men are just dumb buffoons and need to be told what to do and treated like boys. And it's like, yeah, dude, like you get told that because you are a dumb buffoon, person running this fucking program. You are the dumb buffoon. You're the dude out here with like half a goddamn brain cell eating fucking crayons and shit. That's you. That's not a problem for me. Not once have I been told you're a dumb buffoon. And never have I felt like people are treating me like I'm a boy because I'm a dumb buffoon. I felt pretty respected in my position by other people. They often respect me. I've had a lot of people tell me that I'm awesome. Shit like that. I'm just making my ego sound fucking huge right now. But, yeah, like because of shit that I do, people say thank you to me, and people are like, oh, like I really appreciate it. You're a cool person. Like, I appreciate you. Like, that's the shit I like hearing, not like, oh my God, oh, you're such a masculine, manly man. Like, I don't like hearing that. That just sounds fucking stupid. Like, who wants to be addressed like that? It's dumb at the end of the day. It really is. But, yeah, I don't know. I've never been treated like a boy. I've been treated with a good amount of respect. So, maybe if you're, like me and you aren't like these people, you'll be treated with respect, because I don't feel this way at all. the school systems are pushing this BS narrative too. Now, this is one of the worst things, for me. This is something that I personally really dislike. The kind of public school hate from people and saying that like public school is trying to push certain narratives or blah, 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 or whatever, right? I have gone to a public school for all of my years of school. I just recently graduated, so obviously I'm not in school anymore, but I did, all 12, 13 years, 14 years, right? Because I went to preschool too and shit. I've done all 14 years of my schooling, at public school. And I guess you could say, oh, well, preschool's never public. You always have to pay for preschool. I'm pretty sure that my preschool was paid for. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of, money when I went to preschool. Like my family, well, obviously I didn't fucking have a lot of money. I was like 4 years old. But, obviously like my family did not have a whole lot of money when I went to preschool. So I think that like the state fucking paid for it or some shit. So, I don't even think that I did that. So basically, all of my years, because I went to basically an elementary school for my preschool. It wasn't like a special preschool or anything like that. It was just the bare fucking minimum, right? So all of my years of school have been in a public setting. Many different kids coming from many different backgrounds, whether that be, race backgrounds, whether that be economic backgrounds, whatever it may be, right? I've interacted with plenty of people. The teachers have come from many backgrounds, stuff like that. I've never felt like an agenda has been pushed on me whatsoever. Especially by, the school, right? By the public school. I've never felt like an agenda has been pushed on me by the public school. So I don't think that the school systems are pushing any bullshit. In fact, typically when I, was going to school, it was very much just go learn the subjects that they're talking about and fucking go home. Because at least, where I was, you weren't really allowed to talk about politics unless the class was politics related. And, you weren't allowed to talk about religion unless, once again, the class was religious, in nature, or, you aren't even really allowed, you just aren't like allowed to really say a whole lot of like personal shit or push very much of an agenda. So, everything that I've learned has been through the internet or shit like that, or my fucking parents or people that I hang out with or stuff like that. So, I don't think that the school system is doing much of anything, but okay, whatever you say, Mr. Fucking brain cells, sure. Training our boy to choose pleasure over purpose and desire over duty. Okay, so apparently this is what the school systems are teaching me, right? To choose pleasure over purpose. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean like, are we talking like weird pleasure that we probably shouldn't be associating with, the kind of people that you're trying to market this to? Are we talking like just, general pleasure, just like, oh, I don't do anything over purpose? Like, what does that mean? What is my purpose? I have no fucking clue. I just kind of do what I do and fucking go in a direction. I set goals for myself and do shit. So that's another one that's just kind of like, okay, sure, dude. I don't know, but okay. And, desire over duty. So apparently I'm just, constantly drawn into my temptations and I can't do anything, like I don't have a duty. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I can't stay on a straight path because the school system fucked me up. Like, that's just some dumbass shit. So much of this is, honestly, it's just, and it goes on for so long. Like, we're going to keep taking a look at it, and to think that in order to move up in the world, all right, what crazy shit's about to come down now, training our boys to choose, I fucked up. And to think that in order to move up in the world, you need to act more like a woman. I've never been told I need to act like a woman in my life. Why would you? Because, again, what does acting like a woman mean? Like, to me, I don't know. What is acting like? I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't act like a man. Maybe I don't act like a woman. Maybe I just act like a fucking person. That's how I feel like I've been taught my whole life. Like, I just act like a fucking person. You know, and I feel like that's what most people are probably out there doing. You're just acting like a fucking human being. There's not that big of a difference between men and women now. Like, women have a lot of the equality that they deserve. There's still, you know, a little bit that they're missing, right? You know, I can see why they do get a little angry at certain situations, because there are misogynistic weirdos out there, like the people who run this, you know, fucking Andrew Tate, shit like that. And I could completely see wanting to get rid of that. And, you know, as for men, we're just kind of where we've always been. You know, I don't think the men have really lost a whole lot. I think other people are just closer to being equal with them. And for some reason, that really intimidates some people. But I don't know, you know, to me, I don't really care. I think equality is an overall good thing, whether that be race, you know, race, sex, sexuality, whatever it may be. I think it's pretty much a good thing. So yeah, you know, I don't know. I've never felt like I need to act more like a woman, I guess, to fucking excel in anything. I feel like I've been just content acting like me, and it's gotten me pretty far. So yeah, I don't know. But we both know it's not how this world works, okay? Well, you've just fucking contradicted yourself, because apparently you said that's how it does work, but I guess now it doesn't work like that. Okay, we see through this, but what is your son seeing? He's seeing what they want him to see, even though you're doing your best. It needs to stop. Like, again, it's so dumb, dude. It's so dumb. And this is one of those weird things. There's something that I hate more than anything, right? And it's parents who are just overbearing. Like, overbearing parents who are either overprotective or, like, try too hard to push a message to their kids. Because here's the thing. It never works. It just doesn't work. It doesn't get through to them. You know, the way that, like, people typically work is like through positive reinforcement and shit. If you're like, you know, sitting there talking about something positively, and then, you know, you go out and do it and somebody's like, oh, that was super cool of you. Like, that is going to get through to people, right? Or like, you know, trying something out that you heard or saw or whatever, like that you saw like a role model do, going and trying that out and then getting like a little bit of praise for it, or maybe it went positively, like that's going to have the biggest impact on you. Okay. If your parents are sitting there like just fucking hounding you, like, oh my God, dude, like you got to do this, or you got to be this kind of person, or blah, 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 blah. And then like punishing you if you aren't that kind of person, that's not going to work well. Like, that's not going to stick with you really. And maybe it does for some people, and then they go do the same thing to their kid, and then they just fuck up their kid too. But you know, there's also some people who are going to like defect from that because it's just not going to work for them. Your brain's just not made to like fucking, you know, take so much, almost like abuse, you know, it's just going to shut it off at a certain point. And, you know, try and go fucking find a way out of it. So I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I don't think that, like, if the world's seeing what the world wants your son to see, then that's fine, I guess. You know, if they're out in the world and I guess they accidentally get exposed to shit and they say, hey, this really speaks to me, then that it is what it is, you know? I mean, I don't know. As a parent, you can't like force your kid into being something. It's weird, you know. Your kid is an individual person at the end of the day. You know, they're gonna grow up and be their own adult one day, or you know, even when they're a little kid, they're still their own person. You know, you don't have like absolute control over them. They have their own brain with their own thoughts and, you know, their own wants and needs and shit like that. So, you know, they're going to go out and be their own person eventually. And they always are. You can't like take that away from your kid. That's just weird. It's weird. You know, it's like keeping them captive almost. It's strange. But yeah, you know, there's more, because why wouldn't there be? I can't even tell you how many of my son's friends I met who don't know how to accomplish simple tasks every man should know, like this. Now, these were funny to me, right? I read these, and these are fucking hilarious. So, you know, get ready. Strap yourselves in for these. Change a tire. Now, I know how to change a tire. I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing in the world, though. You know, I could definitely see you getting a little confused. It is good to know how to change a tire, regardless of your gender. You know, it is definitely a useful life skill, but at the same time, you'll probably be okay because hopefully like somebody would help you in that circumstance, or even like if you had like fucking AAA or some shit, you can call them and they'll fucking do it for you. So it's not like the most needed thing in the world, but it's not a bad thing to know, to be fair. But this next one, fucking I was laughing my ass off. Saw a piece of wood. Like, not once in my life have I don't think I've ever needed to saw a fucking piece of wood. And I don't know, like, why you would need to know how to saw a piece of wood. And I feel like if you did need to know how to saw a piece of wood, it's pretty straightforward. I feel like it's just kind of grab the fucking saw, push it through the wood until you have two pieces of wood. Like, I don't think that that's like some wild thing. Like, I don't think that that's really that hard, but okay. Drive manual transmission. Now, once again, I don't know why. Like, okay, I know how to drive manual transmission. Why? Because I have a dirt bike. And that's a manual transmission vehicle, right? So I know how to like do that on a dirt bike. And also I've played hours upon hours of racing games where I like to drive in manual because you have more control, you can go faster, shit like that, right? So I've kind of taught myself through things like that, how to do it in an actual car. But not everybody has, you know, fucking access to all that shit. And on top of that, vehicles are very rarely manual now. Like, there's not a whole slew of new manual cars coming out. It's kind of like a weird select niche option now. 90% of the time, it's going to be an automatic. The car that I drive every day is an automatic car. Even though I can drive manual, I don't really necessarily need it outside of more like, you know, extracurricular, like fun activities for me. It's not like I need it to fucking get around. And I don't think a lot of men probably do. So I guess every man should also know how to open doors for women. Now, don't get me wrong. It's definitely nice to hold the door open for somebody. However, you look kind of fucking weird when you're that one dude who like runs from across the goddamn parking lot to open the door for like a woman. Like, you look weird, and she's going to also think, okay, like, I guess I appreciate him opening the door, but that was weird. Like, he went way out of his way to do that. Simply holding the door open for somebody, if you're already walking through it, or if you're really close and they're like right behind you and you're like, oh shit, go ahead. Like, that's cool. But I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't be like looking for women to hold doors open for. It's weird. You know, it's kind of odd. And also, I feel like you don't really need to learn that. It's just opening a fucking door. Whether there's a woman involved or not, it's the same action. You know, like, I don't know. It's weird. But sit in the right spot at a restaurant to keep their heads on a swivel. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Does this mean that you're supposed to like position yourself everywhere you fucking go, everywhere you sit down, so that you can like look out like a weird like paranoid freak and be like, oh my god, okay, if something kicks off, I'm gonna know what to do. I'm gonna fucking do this, and I'm gonna save all these people in here, and I'm gonna be the fucking hero. Like, are there actually people like acting like that? Because every time I walk into a restaurant, I'm like, all right, sick, order my food, go fucking sit down, hop on my phone, maybe talk to my friends if I'm like there with friends, or talk to my family if I'm there with my family, eat my fucking food, and go home. Like, I don't sit there and think how I'm gonna be like fucking Captain America if something kicks off in the goddamn restaurant, okay? And I don't know why you'd ever need to, because like, I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't fucking know. Don't be a hero. You know, it's a meaningful thing when people say that. You don't need to be the fucking hero of everything. You know, you don't always need to be trying to be the hero, because things will either turn out okay and nothing will happen, or if something does happen, then I don't know. You know, your plan's probably going to go to shit anyway. So I would just calm the fuck out on that one. That's probably like not even a good thing that you should know. That's weird and paranoid. But okay, they should know how to defend themselves and others. I mean, that's not bad. It is like important to kind of know how to defend yourself and maybe other people who can't defend themselves. But I don't know. You know, I don't feel like it's like a top of the fucking list thing for me, and I've been okay. You know, I've never needed to like physically defend myself. And you know, I've been here through almost 19 years of life now, and not once have I ever needed to physically defend myself. You know, there's been times where I've gotten pissed off at people and I've like defended myself through fucking words and shit, and I've been like, yeah, no, like fuck you, dude, like that's not cool, you know, fuck off, whatever, shit like that. And you know, that typically works. You know, it's kind of a rare occurrence where you need to like escalate shit to physically violent level. So I don't know, you know, it's one of those like, it's, I guess, case by case things, but have the confidence to make eye contact when speaking. Now, the thing about me, and I know people are going to be like, oh my God, this is like, you're like autistic or something, you know, and no offense to autistic people, but, you know, I don't typically make a whole lot of eye contact when talking to people. I do occasionally, you know, occasionally I'll make eye contact, but there's a lot of times, especially if I'm having like a quick conversation with somebody or something, where I don't make complete eye contact. And this is because eye contact feels a little weird to me. It's just like, it's something in my mind that it's weird personally. Like I don't like just dead staring at somebody when I'm having a conversation, because I feel like I'm being intimidating. I don't feel like intimidated by them making eye contact with me or something like that. I feel like I'm creeping them out at that point if I'm just like locked onto their eyes like all the time. So typically I'll like look around a little bit. I don't try and be weird about it, and I'll definitely make eye contact from time to time. But yeah, you know, I'm not like the most like strict eye contact holder, you know, but I don't know, you know, and plus I don't know, I feel like it's again, it's just a fucking weird thing. But yeah, you know, we have another fucking one. So every day my son and I work out together at 7 p.m. Afterwards we hit the hot tub together and have deep conversations. I mean, that's a little weird. That's a pause moment for me, but moving on. I want to provide a space where my son can be open and vulnerable while knowing his father is there to guide him. Shut the fuck up, dude. You don't want your son to be vulnerable ever. You're one of those people who are like, stop crying, man the fuck up, toughen the fuck up. Crying's not for dudes. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. You don't care about your kid being vulnerable. You should be able to create like a safe space for your kid to talk to you and shit, but that's not this fucking person. And the other day he told me, Dad, I don't know if you know this or not, but now that I'm in high school, I'm kind of a popular kid. So I decided to start a movement of sobriety. Okay, now this dude's just lying out his fucking ass. This dude's just straight up lying. When have it, like, okay, I've completed high school, like I just said, like I just recently said. You know, I'm one of those people who can be kind of annoying, you know. Typically I'm like, oh, you know, like I care about shit, right? I care about other people, and I try and like stick up for other people and like do my best in, you know, being there for others and like my friends and shit, right? But, you know, I've never once said, hey, I'm going to start a movement of sobriety, even though that's something I do believe in, right? You know, I'm kind of a fan of sobriety, but I've never been like, I'm going to start a fucking movement of sobriety at my high school. Like, why? Why would I do that? And like, to say that your kid is like one of the popular kids is just weird. Like, do you ever really know if you're one of the popular kids in high school? Like, I feel like maybe I wasn't, but I don't know. I was known by a good amount of people, you know? I feel like I was one of those like on the fence kids. Like, if I really wanted to, I could be popular depending on the fucking day. But, you know, like, I don't like... This is so weird. Like, it just didn't happen. I don't even know why I go and try and like disprove it. This just didn't happen. Like, I don't know. I asked him, what do you mean, son? Well, a lot of kids in my grades are now smoking puff sticks. This is a high school aged kid. No high school aged kid has called a vape a fucking puff stick. That's like what 80-year-old like fucking men who can't wipe their own ass anymore. Like, that's what they call vapes. They're like, oh, the puff sticks. Like, no kid is calling that a goddamn puff stick. And if you are, and you're a kid, you need to seriously like touch grass. You need to go see the outside world. You know, do something. Like, I don't know, get out there. socialize with other people, you know, meet a scary individual or something. I don't fucking know. Don't actually do that. I don't advise meeting a scary individual, but you know what I mean? Like, kind of push your limits a little bit if you don't know what a fucking vape is called. Like, that's a little concerning almost. But, yeah, I don't know. With a confused look on my face, I replied, "What the fuck is a puff stick?" Oh, dude, it's so dumb, dude. This is like this is like his fucking fantasy. Like that's what's going on here. You know, that's what's happening. I figured it out. I got to the bottom of it. But yeah, okay, because this continues. My son went on to explain to me that a puff stick is a nicotine vape pen. Dude, again, I don't think this guy's been in the fucking real, like, I don't think this guy's seen the outside. He just knows fucking gym and, you know, teach a weird class to people. Yeah, a nicotine vape pen. Okay, buddy. Sure. And how a lot of kids in his grades are addicted to it. So regardless of the fact, a lot of kids would say what he's doing isn't cool. Dude, I swear to God, this guy is talking out of his fucking ass right now. This shit is not real. It didn't fucking happen. You know, where's the source for this? We'll never fucking know. It's a complete trust me bro story. Like, I don't know, dude. It's weird. It's fucking weird. And no, honestly, if this is real, what his kid is doing is cool. I respect it 100%. But I don't think it's what's happening. I'm going to be honest. I just don't see it as being a real thing. But okay, whatever. So, here we go, right? So I thought, how much is this, you know, worth? How much does this program cost that's apparently so amazing and spectacular, right? How much is it going to cost me, right, if I want to go through this with my dad? Well, it is going to cost a $1,900 one-time fee. A $1,900 fee to crawl through the mud with no goal in mind. To sit in an ice bath to apparently teach me how to use my mind to get through my goals. To teach me how to treat my future spouse, because at 19 years of age, I have not figured out how to do that for myself. And, you know, to, I guess, go become a big, masculine, manly man. You know, apparently that's what this is going to try and teach me for $1,900, because I am not secure in myself enough to assume that I have the tasks or the fucking mental knowledge that this course is going to apparently enlighten me about. It's so dumb. Like, that's crazy. If you're paying that, that is just, it's sad. I kind of feel bad for you. And, you know, with us figuring out the price, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys learned something about this terrible fucking Squire program. It's truly odd. You know, I think that's the best word for it. It's odd. It's potentially damaging. And it's definitely not something for me. Now, I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world. I guess if you did it, you did it. It's just something that isn't personally for me, right? And I think that it was interesting to look at. And some of the things I feel that they are doing is a little too far. And I just kind of wanted to, you know, shed some light on that and kind of, you know, show that this is a weird thing. And it's probably a cash grab at the end of the day. I mean, obviously I don't know that 100%. With all of my videos, none of this is meant to be taken completely literal. Okay. I'm not trying to like get these people shut the fuck down or like get them in any kind of trouble or anything like that. That is not my intention at all. You know, it like, it's literally just complete speculation and just my opinion on this, you know, business, I guess you could say, or this program, I guess, or what they go through or anything like that. It's completely my speculation. But yeah, because of that, in my opinion, I feel that I don't know, you know, this is not a positive experience. It's a little weird and a little strange, and I don't know. I just felt like making a video on it because it was something I could talk about for a long time, and I feel like I did that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like as well as hit that subscribe button. It is super appreciated, and it helps keep me being a a nice, feminine, non-masculine man who doesn't know how to I don't know, fucking chop a piece of wood. So yeah, please hit that like and subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, as always. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.